Hey, my name is Dale Calvert. I wish I could be there with you guys. I appreciate Rick asking me to do this video training for you, and I'm going to talk about the mindset necessary to get your first ERC call done. Get that out of the way. If you told me a year ago that I would be working the two of the best opportunities I have seen in my 40 plus years, all under one umbrella called iHub Global, I could have not even imagined it. So I'm beyond excited and thankful to be here at this time in this place. I appreciate Rick asking me to share some ideas with you that I hope you find helpful. I got to apologize in advance. I am not politically correct. I speak my mind. I get down to where the rubber hits the road. I believe the quote that I heard from Jim Rohn years ago that said you must care enough about people to tell them what they need to hear, not necessarily what they want to hear. And none of us can really improve and grow and get better if we don't get honest feedback. Those of you that are on our team, I know we have several of you that are there live at the event. Others, all of you better be watching this on live stream. And you know I'm serious. You better be watching this. I will be quizzing you. But I'm not going to say anything here that I haven't said that you guys haven't heard 1,000 times. So if you need to get up and go to the bathroom or whatever, that would be a good time to do that. For the rest of you, I would be asking myself, who is this person? Why should I be listening to them? I'm going to give you a real quick bio. I got involved in network marketing when I was 20 years old with the Shackley Corporation. I was a 20-year-old snot-nosed kid, didn't have a clue what I was doing, living in a little tiny 600 square foot house, driving a beat-up Chevette. But I had big dreams, and I saw the value of being able to create residual passive income. And I got involved in the industry. It took me 5 years before I was able to go full-time. But I was able to go full-time within about 5 years. And I never had a job for anybody since. I was fortunate to be one of the first distributors in a company called New Image International back in 1990. And over a 5-year period, I started in 1980, and then actually New Image was in 1994, 95. But I started in 1980 with Shackley, up, down, up, and was involved in the health insurance business during that time. Just a lot of ups and downs, a lot of frustrations. I landed in NSA, and I owed the government over $50,000 in taxes. I was not in a good place. But over that 5-year period, was able to get out of debt, become a national marketing director in that company, the highest level, a member of the President's Advisory Council member, and doing great. And then this New Image International came along, and I was at the time making about $25,000 a month, even if I didn't leave my house. And I told my mom and my parents and my wife at the time, hey, I'm quitting. I'm starting all over with this brand new company. They all thought I was crazy. But over the next 5 years, by being in the right place at the right time with the right organization, I was able to create over $10 million in commissions in my pocket. I became a millionaire at 35. I had a network of over 5 million by the time I was 40. And it changed my life. This whole profession has just changed my life. And the last thing I ever thought about doing, I retired. I'm done building teams. And I never thought I would get back into this game. And I never thought that I would ever see what we're seeing and experiencing right now. So I have been in this game a long time, and I have some things I think can really make a positive impact for you. For years, people have been asking me, Dale, when's something going to come around that offers NSA money? When are we going to have an opportunity where we can earn NSA money again? And I would ask you guys, have you gotten out your calculator? I mean, what we have with this ERC program is not NSA money. This is NSA money on steroids. I mean, have you really looked and done the numbers and punched around a little bit? I mean, I didn't have to hear Josh Fox say but one time, in the last 15 months, we've helped thousands of people become millionaires. Now, think about that. What network marketing company in history has created the most millionaires? I don't know. Was it Herbalife? Was it Amway? Who knows? But I can tell you what, there's not one that has come close to being able to say that they have helped thousands of people become millionaires. That's the opportunity that we have in the palm of our hand. So I get up every day beyond thankful. I'm excited about what we have in front of us, and I think some of you are just missing it. I mean, I really do. It's like I don't understand how you cannot get up every day just thankful to be part of iHub Global. And the thing that I love about this company, and we all have to appreciate more, is the fact that Rick and Michael and Chuck have all been in the field as distributors. They understand what we're going through. Those three guys and Eric and Melissa at the home office, they all get it. They understand that we in the field write their paycheck. And I so appreciate working in that type of environment. You know, I've always believed that this is a personal development program with a compensation plan attached. That's what this business is about. I've always believed that. Unfortunately, in the last 10, 15, 20 years, some of us remember when Success Magazine on the cover had the cover of the Success Magazine, the real Success Magazine, where it said, "We create millionaires." And it talked about what network marketing was, how it was rolling throughout this country and how so many people were changing their lives with this business model. That was in the mid-90s, and it's gone like this, the industry has, since that time. We all know it's a big social club. It's a social club. We aren't treating it like a business. We're treating it like a giant social club. And if any company is ever going to set the example for what can happen in this profession today, when you're with the right company and the right team at the right time in history, it's going to be iHub Global with ERC, with Loop, and with who knows what we'll have in the future. I believe, and Balt is a 20-year-old Zig's concept. You can have anything in life you want if you help enough other people get what they want. I want to ask you one question, leaders. Leaders, look at your top people. Why are they doing this business? And not just your top people, look at your entire team. What do they want from this business? That has to be established, number one. For those of you that are live in the crowd and those watching at home, if you have not booked your first ERC call, why haven't you? And I'm not going to ask you to write it down unless you're on my team watching at home, and please do write it down, but you should write it down. You should ask yourself, why have you not booked a call? Really, why have you not? And you know, Rick and Eric and the whole team, they're trying to constantly give us new tools and new ideas and so on and so forth. And I was talking to Rick, and he said, "Dale, what tools do you need? What tools do we need?" And I said, "Look, in my opinion, this is not a tools issue. It's a mindset issue. If you haven't already booked your first ERC call, it has nothing with the fact that you don't have business cards yet or you need a flyer. It has everything to do with what's going on between your ears right here. That's the issue. And what my hope is before this live stream's over, before the day's over, that you will make adjustments to your mindset. This is a mental game. This business is built between your ears. Now, I'm going to give you 5 steps to setting your first ERC call. 5 steps to getting your mindset right to be able to set your first ERC call. But you got to get it. You got to understand, guys, there is no foo-foo dust. There's no super tool. There's no super script. There ain't no foo-foo dust. This is a numbers game. As legendary marketer Michael Penland says, he's also part of our iHub global team. He says there's two types of people, those that make money and those that make excuses. And if you're sick and tired of making excuses, because you and I both know that's what you've been doing, by the end of the day, you need to get the right mindset, get the courage, and do not let today pass without deciding, I am going to get it done. When we get started, none of us, or very few of us, a lot of us, I didn't understand what ERC was. You know, I'm one of those guys that Josh was talking about who's been living under a rock, because he talks about unless you've been living under a rock, no disrespect, if you don't understand ERC, where have you been living? I guess I was under the rock because I'd never heard of it. Okay, when they rolled this out, I'd never heard of it. I couldn't even spell ERC, okay? So I had no idea. I didn't know what it was. But that night, I stayed up all night. I went through every single webinar at Bottom Line Concepts on their training site. I went through everything. I studied as much as I could, as quick as I could. And here's the reality. So step number one is get yourself educated. Get yourself educated. And how do you do that? You can go back through the iHub Global ERC webinars. You go through the ones that have been recorded up to this time. You go through them maybe twice at the most. And in 20 hours, you can understand more about ERC, this program, and how to get it into the marketplace than 97% of the population. I can't do the 20 hours for you, but you can. And honestly, you don't need it. Honestly, you could pick up the phone, call a business. You aren't the owner, are you? No. You aren't going to let me talk to the owner, are you? No. Thank you. You aren't the owner, are you? No. You aren't going to let me talk to the owner, are you? No. And you could do that until finally somebody would say, yeah, I'm the owner. Say, have you applied for ERC? Oh, no, my accountant told me that wasn't for me. I couldn't qualify because I got PPP or whatever. And you could say, listen, is it worth a 5 to 10 minute call to see if you could qualify? Because based upon the information I have, I believe you could. What am I saying? I'm saying it's a numbers game. It doesn't matter what you do. There ain't no foo-foo dust. Call up businesses from the yellow pages every day and say, I want to talk to your owner about the ERC program, and you're probably not going to let me, are you? No, I'm not. Click. Call the next one. It's a numbers game. In the beginning, you make up in numbers what you lack in skill. And after getting in the marketplace, it gets more comfortable and more comfortable and more comfortable, but you've got to be able to make yourself just take action. Study the 20-hour rule. We'll put the article up. Read that. It's valuable. In 20 hours, you will know more about this program than 97% of the population. Step number 2 is you need to decide why you're doing this business. What do you want from iHub Global? Why are you here? Why are you watching at home? What are you really looking for? I've said for many years, until you decide why, the how doesn't matter. Most people have not decided why they're doing what they're doing. And you have to just take some time and think about, what's available here. See, I personally believe, I know there's people in iHub Global that will become millionaires with the ERC program. There's still enough time available. There still is. You can get out your calculator. We've got people that are well on their way already. So there's still enough time, but what do you want? Because until you decide why, the how doesn't matter. See, early in my career, I didn't have to listen to Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret, that many times before I just got it. I didn't have to read about the 1953 Harvard University study but once when it talked about the fact that in 1953, the graduating class, the 3% that had written goals accomplished more than the other 97% combined 20 years later. Why would you violate that wisdom of the ages principle? What you think about comes about. What the mind can conceive and believe, you can't achieve. How are you going to get where you want to go if you don't know where that destination is? So you've got to take the time to decide why you're doing this. Based upon my calculations, if you enroll one business with just 5 W-2s, about the least amount you're going to make in commissions is about $1,700. That's not bad. That's pretty good. Compare that to anything else you've ever had in your hand in the past. $1,700 is pretty good. But it's not about the $1,700. It's not about the $1,700. That first deal will give you a sense of confidence that's really unexplainable. It's only something that you can experience. I've had that experience. A lot of people on our team have had that experience. After you get one and you get out your calculator and you start doing the numbers and you think, my gracious, what if I got two? I mean, my first deal was with 55 W-2s, and I got out my calculator and I did the numbers, and I'm thinking, my gosh, what if I did one of the two of these a week? And that's what will happen for you. It'll give you confidence, but it all starts with your first call. You have to get that done, because it will take you to a different place, emotionally and psychologically, and you'll start thinking about what might be possible for you. So decide what you want and dream big, because I promise you, I believe there's still time to become a millionaire with this program that we're offering through iHub Global. So that's step 2. Number 3 is accept no excuses. Accept no excuses. Understand the challenge is not in the marketplace out there. The challenge is in the mirror staring you back as you look in the mirror. That's where the challenge is. It's amazing to me that people want to tell me, well, Dale, I made 5 calls and 3 of them had already filed for ERC. Dale, I made 2 calls and they have to talk to their partner. Dale, I did this. Dale, I did this. Dale, I did. And it's like, dudes, dudettes, wake up. Have you seen the leaderboard? Do you think all those people on the leaderboard don't run into every day what you're running into? To not accept that or to not expect that, it's just naive. It's naive. And it's like, you can make up all the excuses that you want to make up, or you can understand this is a numbers game. I just have to continue to do it. There's only about 4 or 5 objections that you're going to get, and if you know how to confidently reply to those 4 or 5 objections, you're well on your way. Because you know why? 70% of the people that try to promote the ERC program will never ask themselves, well, what are the 4 or 5 major objections I'm getting? And when I get those, what is the best way for me to respond? What's the best way for me to react? So again, you can accept no excuses from yourself. It's going to take that type of focus and determination, but you've done it before, and you can do it here. All success is outside of your comfort zone. People want to sit back, be comfortable, not have to learn anything, make a few phone calls, and become wealthy. And it doesn't work that way. Success happens outside your comfort zone. And you have to accept that. If you want to be comfortable and you just want to have instant success, like, oh, those people on the leaderboard, they're so lucky because this, that. That's not true. They're willing to fight through that. I felt uncomfortable and clumsy and frustrated when I first started, but it's like anything else that you do in life. The more you do it, the more consistently you do it, the better you become. And that's just the reality of it. Step 4 is to accept the fact that it's a numbers game. Always has been, always will be. Years ago, I heard Jim Rohn talk about the whole concept of 3 basic laws, the parable of the sower. I listened to that over and over and over. Then I had the opportunity to see him live in Columbus, Ohio. And that day, sitting in Columbus, I'm sitting there and he's doing the exact same talk that I've heard on audio cassette 100 times. And for whatever reason, that day, that whole concept that the law of averages will work for Dale, just like it will work for anybody else, because it's a law. It's like if we all get on top of the roof and we all jump off, I'm not going to magically float up in the air. We're all going down. It's because of the law of gravity. And the law of averages, X number of people contact, it gives you a ratio, will work for me just like it will work for anybody else. And since that time, over the years, every team that we've built, we've given them the Jim Rohn How to Build a Network Marketing Organization audio. And those on our team will say, look, Dale says we don't listen to this, we memorize it. Because if you can get that concept from your head to your heart and you understand it's just a numbers game, it makes it so much easier. If you're brand new and you've never been involved in anything like this, you can make up in numbers what you lack in skill. It's just a numbers game. And to try to think that, well, the people they're calling are better than the people I'm calling. No, it's all the same game. It's the same game for all of us. But they're playing the game every day, and they're doing it consistently. And some of you were on the training that Chuck did on the first Saturday training Chuck did, and he talked about keeping your pipeline full. That was a phenomenal training that he shared with it, the video that he shared that Saturday morning. Some of you got it. Some of you, well, it's just another training. It's like this. One ear out the other. There's reasons people win. There's reasons people fail. And the law of averages will work for everybody that puts the law of averages into use. If you've never heard the audio training by Jim Rohn, you should really get your hands on it. It's probably live on YouTube. And internalize that. Listen to it every day, because it will make an impact for your business. I promise you. I promise you. You know, Dr. Martin Luther King said you don't have to see the whole staircase. You just have to take the first step. Taking the first step. That's what I am encouraging you to not leave, not finish this day without deciding to take the first step. That's how success starts. It starts with a decision to take the first step. You don't have to see every step thereafter. Jim Rohn said, resolve says, I will. The man says, I'll climb that mountain. They told me it was too high, it was too far, it was too steep, it was too rocky, too difficult, but it's my mountain, and I will climb it. You will see me waving from the top or dead on the side from trying. I absolutely love that quote. I absolutely love it. Guys, this business is built between your ears. I've shared with you the 5 steps to get yourself to a place emotionally and psychologically where you just aren't going to be on that hamster wheel, just spinning round and round and round, hearing about all the success that everybody around you is having. Step 1, get yourself educated 20 hours, watch every webinar that's been done up to this point. You will know more than 97% of the people. Step 2, decide why. Until you know why, the how doesn't matter. There's not a person on my team that can't tell you what my why is. They all know, because that's all I talk about. I believe with what we have going on, the full package with iHub Global, I believe that we can develop an organization, a team, with over 10 millionaires and 500 six-figure earners. And I've looked at it every day, and I've looked at it every day since before ERC was even here. It's on my bathroom mirror. It's on the visor in my car. I carry it with me every day. And that's all I focus on. You got to dream big dreams. What's your big dream? You can't violate that wisdom of the ages principle. And just for the fun of it, for those of you that are on our team in the crowd, stand up real quick. And you better have this with you. But if you have your top 3 reasons with you, pull them out of your billfold, your purse, inside your shoe, wherever you have them. Hold them up in the air and wave them so people can see that we actually practice what we preach as a group. Those at home don't have to do it, but those that are at the live event, go ahead and do that. I hope you guys are giving them my hand because they deserve it. Number 3 is accept no excuses. Accept no excuses from yourself, and accept no excuses from a potential client that says, well, my CPA told me I don't qualify. My attorney told me I don't qualify. I have to talk to my business partner first. Figure out what your 4 or 5 most common objections are and how you're going to respond to those. Number 4, accept that it's a numbers game. Accept that it's a numbers game. And number 5, resolve to persist. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. It's not about the tools. It's about your mindset. And it's my sincere hope that everybody that's here today, December 10th, and by the way, I would love to be there. I would love to be there. I've always taught people the only reason to miss an event is death in your immediate body. And I've always taught that. That's what I've always believed. And that was until I had grandkids. And some of you can relate. Once you have grandkids, everything changes. My granddaughter is a star basketball player. And she today is participating in the Toyota Classic, one of the largest tournaments that she's in all year. And I'll be right there, center court, cheering her on and screaming at the referees. But I'm not going to miss that. I hate not being there, but I'd already promised her, and I'm not going to miss that because that can never be replaced. I think a big mistake that a lot of people make is they think people have some kind of special ability, or they know all these the right people and so on and so forth, and it's just not. The law of averages works for everybody. It's a numbers game. You have to know why you're doing it, and your why has to make you cry. It has to get you up in the morning and working hard towards why you're doing what you're doing. All the things that I've tried to share with you, but I'm just going to pull up. This was a recent leaderboard post that I pulled off of iHub Global. And you can see at this time when this was actually pulled off of the internet in the back office, that 11 of the top 25 affiliates are on our team. And these are just regular people like you that have come down this path. There's not a person on our team that doesn't come through this process. It's a process. You can see here that number 17, that's Joe. Joe's in California. Joe started with Loop, and he just went to his Loop customers. But the day he started Loop, he took the affiliate training for Loop in the morning, and by that afternoon had done 10 boxes. His first day, he just got into the marketplace. Joe was number 17. Number 16 is Alan Knight. Alan, again, he went back to some of his Loop customers and made the leaderboard. number 15 is myself. I haven't talked to my business contacts yet. At the time of this recording, I think I will have done it, but I haven't yet because I haven't gone back to Kentucky, my home state, yet. But just cold contacts is what I've done. Then we're looking at Kurt Summers. Kurt's also in California. Number 11, his Loop customers. It's primarily where those ERC customers have come from. Number 8 is reliable Dave Buchanan down in Florida. Dave works referrals with ERC. Started with his Loop customers as well. Number 7 is Kamala Robinson. Kamala's up in Michigan. Kamala broke out with Loop, and she hasn't gone back. I mean, Kamala hung around our organization, around us, and some of our trainings for years. And when Loop came, she just broke out, and she's never went back. She's at a different place, emotional and psychological, than she's ever been in her life. And what I'm trying to communicate to each one of you is you can get there too. And this weekend is the time to decide to do that. Number 6 is Dan Vesperman. When I saw Dan land on the leaderboard, it honestly made me cry. It honestly did. Dan, again, been around for several years, hanging around our stuff, member of our MLM training club, so on and so forth. And I had a talk with him right after I saw his name. He said, Dale, I just drew the line in the sand. And I said, if I'm ever going to do this, if I'm ever going to live a network marketing dream, now's the time, now's the company. And I drew the line in the sand. He said, I went down in my basement. I walked around for an hour reading the scripts that you've given us. And I finally said, this is ridiculous. And I just picked up the phone and started calling. And his first week of activity, he made the leaderboard. Number 4, Shelly Giddings. Shelly's out in Utah doing a fabulous job. I've worked with Shelly off and on for over 25 years in different projects. And this is just really connected with her. And she sees the value that she can provide to private schools and companies and organizations that deserve the money. Number 2 is Roger. Roger, I've never met. I've never talked to him on the phone. He's way down in depth under us somewhere. But Roger's a CPA, and I believe he's in California. So again, a natural market for Roger. And then number 1 is Gordy and Kelly Alderson. And I've known Gordy and Kelly for over 25 years. They started with me years ago with New Image International. And they have been personal development students. And, you know, we've kept in contact over the years. Gordy's always learning, growing. He's a sponge, but he has the ability to not just gain knowledge, but also take that knowledge and put it into action. So, because knowledge without action leads to self-delusion. So a lot of you have the knowledge. There's a lot of you, everything that I've talked about, you went through years ago. A lot of you. And maybe not these specific steps, but there was times when you set goals. There was times when you did all the success principles that I've shared with you. And the longer we're in the business, the further we get away from the fundamentals that really create success, that build people. If you build people, people build the business. Well, Dale, I don't feel comfortable asking my people what their goals are to write them down. Then you don't need to be a leader, because that's what real leaders should be doing. Come on. You can have anything in life you want if you do what? Help enough other people get what they want. I've said everything I know to say. I'm going to wrap this up. My hope is that you will start this journey. You make the decision. I'm starting right now. I'm going to get the first one done. and you'll be shocked at what happens after that. And once you get, and even if you go into the market for a week and nothing happens, just persist, because you don't know when that first one's going to come. I'll just wrap it up with this. One of my favorite quotes. Those of you that have gone through our Programming Your Mind for Success course have gone through this many times as well. You've heard this many times. Pretty much everybody on our team that's producing has worked on their mindset first. But it's just a quote from Og Mandino, and he says, "The prizes of life are at the end of each journey, not near the beginning. It is not given to me to know how many steps I must take in order to reach my goal. Failure I may encounter at the 1,000th step, but success can lie just around the next bend in the road. I will not know how close it lies unless I persist. I will persist until I succeed." And I hope that's the promise that each one of you make to yourself today. Thanks for listening.